Welcome to the next episode of Book Readers Talks. Today, we have a youngster with us, Nikhil Pimple.
Hi
Hi,
everyone.
Nikhil.
Hi, hi Lalita ji.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me on this.
You're welcome. You're joining us from Pune, right?
Yes,
That's great. Nikhil is an architect and product designer by profession and a reader, of course, a book reader by passion. Am I right, Nikhil?
yes. If you look at the back, this whole thing is filled with books, and there are
Okay.
many more which are in my cupboard, which are waiting to come out when I do the interior of my house. So it was always a dream to have a library in my house, which will have a
Mhm.
collection of books. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I've always loved books. That's the
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's great. So I would like to start by asking you about your love for reading, like you said just now. So how did it all start?
So it all began actually like the first memory which I have of reading a book called per se a novel is of when we were in Srinagar or Kashmir.
Mhm.
So I was basically I'd gone with my parents. My dad was in the army, so
Mhm.
he was posted at Kashmir, and with my mom we were visiting them in the month of December, and
Mhm.
we basically got stuck there. We had gone there for 10 days, but
Mhm.
we because of the heavy snow we got stuck for 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So in those 2 months' time, basically, there was just snow. It was all cold. There was nothing much to do. But
Mhm.
there was this library which was there in the army cantonment. So my
Okay.
dad, like, and there was no internet or nothing at that time, right? So this was the back in 90s. So
Oh.
1995, 96, like that.
Mhm.
So that time, when I would say to my parents that I'm getting bored, they would say, "Ki, go to the library, read something," like that. So my father would be more, indicative of reading a newspaper and everything, but I was never into that. So when I went to a library, basically I found this beautiful book called Heidi, which was my
Okay.
first book in a way.
Okay.
So it
Mhm.
was a novel, and it was a beautiful story in a way,
Mhm.
a very innocent child and the way it is going. And somehow it resonated a lot with me. So
Mhm.
that's where I think my passion began, and I started reading a lot of fiction after that.
Okay.
So I've always been into fiction majorly. So that is
Okay.
why that love for fiction has always grown.
It has stayed with you.
Yeah.
Right. So can you recall a specific book or moment that sparked your interest in reading? I think you mentioned it just now, right?
Yeah,
Heidi.
Heidi is one of them, and
Mhm.
then actually there are a lot of books in that way. Like
Mhm.
with time, also different things happen with you, and then different kind of books affect your life in a way.
Right.
So
Right.
I would like to mention, if not one, then at least three different
Mhm.
books or a set of
Sure.
books which actually made my journey really exciting. So one
Mhm.
set of books was books like Heidi, Enid Blyton, then all the series of Enid Blyton, especially the ones in which there were hobbits and all that. Then Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. I mean,
Oh,
all
yes.
these books were in that line, on that genre,
Mhm.
which really sparked my imagination and introduced me to those kind of different worlds which can exist in your mind. And it actually led me to become what I became. So, in a way, I would say that all these three genre of books actually made me a designer finally. So,
Mhm.
firstly was these books which made you imagine. Second
Mhm.
was comics which were there. So, comics
Oh,
came a
yes.
lot during our younger time in which we had Raj Comics, Amachitra Katha, and
Right.
so many others which had beautiful illustrations and really sparked our interest in knowing the story not only
Mhm.
from I mean Amar Chitra Katha was more about the gods and the mythology which we have like
Right.
Indian mythology, but
Mhm.
Raj Comics was more about superheroes and all those characters like
Yes.
so there was Superman and everything outside India which was not
Mhm.
so famous in India at that time. So we
Right.
had Super Commander Dhruv, Nagraj, and all those characters, which were really exciting at that time. So I had like collections of comics, which I still have a few of them. Like that time, it was a lot which I used to be in, and
Mhm.
that actually sparked my interest in drawing also because
Mhm.
writing
Okay.
stories and drawing then became a thing for me. Ki,
Mhm.
why not create something on my own? like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of a choice also came from that. And then eventually
Okay.
it was, of course, books, little books which inspired, little books which taught me something. So those
Mm-hmm.
came much later, but those are now also my recent kind of interests which are there. But now they
I
are
see.
more to do with my profession, which is architect and product designer, and majorly an
Okay.
illustrator.
Okay. So you think that created interest in you, looking at the
Yes,
comics
yes,
and the caricatures and everything.
yes. Because
Nice.
drawing was
Mhm.
always something which I enjoyed like doing, but seeing those comics and the illustrations which were made in them, those really made me push myself that why not try to make something on my own. So as a kid also I tried to make my own comic and just showed it to my parents and everything. So it was always there in me, I guess. But it just these things really helped. I mean,
Help.
the way that somebody else is also doing this, somebody is making a profession out of this, which was
Mhm.
something inspiring to look forward
Mhm.
to. Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned you like to read the genre fiction, but do you read other genres also?
Yes, I mean, I've never been too much into self-help books, but there are some
Mhm.
books in particular which I've enjoyed. And
Mhm.
I'm also a lot into technical books these days. For example,
Okay.
I'm reading some of the Frank Frazetta's artworks. So
Okay.
I'm like there are books on that in which there is different kind of arts are there. Then there's calligraphy. Then there's this beautiful book
Mhm.
which I have, which has the history of motorcycles. So
Oh.
those are more books towards the technical aspects or
Right.
the collective, the collector one aspect
Mhm.
of reading. But majorly I also I'm majorly into the fiction genre, but that is the
Mhm.
one I really enjoy, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So, what role do books play in your life? Is it entertainment or a source of inspiration or relaxation
So
or
I would say
education?
actually all the three because
Mhm.
basically it was entertainment before, but there have been times when I was really tense and I didn't know a way, and a book really showed me something and gave me a trigger to at least keep going or keep moving, which was really important at that point. So
Okay.
books have also been a thing which connected me to people because I
Mhm.
remember that in college, I was like, there was a point where I didn't know what to do next. And that time, professor just suggested a book to me, and then I knew what to do. So,
Oh, okay.
so books in that way have also been an inspiration. And of course, to draw, it has always been an inspiration because it has
Right.
taught me a lot that how to show those characters, how to compose the images and
Mhm.
everything, which takes a lot of time, as I
Okay.
got to know with time.
You're right. So, which author have you chosen today to speak about?
So today I have basically I've chosen Abhijit Katha. So those are
Oh,
the
okay.
books, and this is a collection which I have. So this one is more to do with Shuddha,
Okay.
like I
God.
think it's of the mirror, but gods and goddesses.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
it is written by Kamla Chandrakant. That's the
Mhm.
scriptwriter, and the illustrations are by Ram Vairkar. That's and
Okay.
Adan Pai, of course. Adan Pai is the
Oh, yeah.
ultimate, I think, Indian editor who has made Tinker and so many other books like
True.
this. So he's editing aspect of it. And
Right.
basically, this book is
Mhm.
having beautiful illustrations in it. So if I just quickly show you like
Sure.
uh, some of them, like if you
Oh,
can see this.
yes.
So
Yes.
it's really
I
like
remember.
comics, but they're like also telling you a serious story.
Mhm.
There's also a lot of action in it, which but
Yes.
to draw this for an artist, it's a big challenge, quite a task, which
True.
takes a lot of time. I mean, now that I draw and I am doing
Mhm.
serious illustrations and sketches, I
Mhm.
realize
Mhm.
that each and every panel of those takes some time to draw. So
Mhm.
somebody's really put that time in and made this beautiful thing.
True. True.
There are some other books which are famous, like for example, Lord of the Rings. So you shall not pass is the moment when Gandalf stops the monster from coming towards them. So there are
Mhm.
moments like that in the books. But yeah, in this one, it is basically the descriptory or the illustration which plays a very important role.
So what this collection you mentioned, the gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
So it's about Indian gods and goddesses, right?
Yes.
For the larger audience who don't know Amar Chitra Katha. So can you tell a little bit about it?
Yes, of course. So this covers majorly a lot of so it covers a lot of gods in a way, like
Okay.
all the major gods. Basically, you can see Shiva. Like,
Yes.
and then there are stories by for Vishnu. There's Krishna. There's Durga, and all the major gods which are there. So from kind of like when I look at this book, it is also from a very kind of two aspects. One thing is the commercial aspect that when you are making a book like this, you want the audience to know about the god, and then they will buy it, right? So if I talk about Shiva, people might buy it much more than if I talk about Bhairav, probably. The other form of Shiva, but probably lesser people will know about it.
Right.
So that way, he's covered everything in that way. But at the same time, he's also telling interesting stories from it, from a different point of view, in which it becomes like a movie where you're watching scene by scene what is happening. And the illustration style is very nice because it's very simple, straightforward, and at times it's played like this, like he's gone. Like usually it goes like this, which is from square to square or rectangle to rectangle, and then to give impact, he's gone like that.
Okay. Yes.
So that is the other way of illustrating the whole thing. So there are things like that in that, and it basically tells you the story of all the gods. Usually the origin story, which we as Indians or Hindus we usually know the origin story of each of the god. But it's a very nice way of illustrating to somebody who might not know about it. So very good starting point because it has very clear and crisp text which is there, and at the same time the illustrations speak a lot. So that is why it's very easy for even a younger audience to read it, and that is why it, I think, sparks the interest in that age group. I guess, like I think people like me have got affected by this during till our 10th. I mean, I would say till I was 15, I was reading this, and then parallelly the other books also, which were more serious then. But this was a good starting point in a way, and brings back the nostalgia.
Yeah, you're right.
Celebration, I think it's more of a collection. So I'm buying this for my kid, basically.
Yeah.
So even from that point of view, it is a kind of a good book because now I look at it as an illustrator, and also okay, this is the small pet which is there, which will keep popping in between people. She
No
doesn't know
problem.
what is going on. Please don't mind that. So
we have company.
yeah, she's been trying to jump up a lot, but now finally she reached. But yeah, so coming back to that point, so it's good for that age where you start building that interest for books, and I think I know. I mean, these days manga is picking up a lot, and I see a lot of kids getting interested in that, and which is good. I mean, which is great that it is coming. But at the same time, I feel they should also explore books like these because they might tell you the same story, but probably in a more interesting manner. So that is there always. So yeah.
So can you share any more book titles from Amar Chitra Katha which you have read in the childhood and which are still there with you?
People is there. Like Janka tales are there. Panchatantra tales are there. So those are also there. And I think basically Amar Chitra Katha is covering that genre. That all our mythology, Indian mythology is their main concept. And that is what they have taken at it.
Right. They are covering history also.
Yeah, history also.
Right. All the heroic characters, I think they have portrayed.
Yes, I think a lot of freedom fighters and those have also been covered. Yes.
Right.
I think I read a Bhagat Singh a long time back. So story of Bhagat Singh to Amar Chitra Katha, I think so. I'm not sure.
Yes, they have a collection. They have a collection of patriots also, right?
Yes, great collective, like a great collection to keep with you, which is very nice. But at the same time, if you just want to buy an individual book, I would say the Krishna part of it. So, like I think that Krishna story is covered in this also. But even the main illustrations that he has done, right?
Yes.
So beautifully illustrated in that way, and the Krishna part is especially very nicely done. I think it is done by. It's done in a very.
Yes, so many moods are shown here, right, on the faces of all the characters. Right.
So, I mean, the characters and the forms are very nicely seen and expressed here, which is great.
Correct.
And it's very different. I think that the editor has also given the chance to other illustrators to show their art and craft. So,
Mhm.
Krishna as a book would be great because the story of Krishna is anyway great and inspiring, and it relates to today's world a lot. So,
Yeah.
Rama is the ideal, obviously. Ram is
Yeah.
like the ideal man, but Krishna is more like your everyday man and what decisions he can take, you know. So
Okay.
that way, yeah, I mean, from the illustration point of view or from the story perspective, Krishna would be great
Sure.
for Chitrakana. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. In which languages do you read, Nikhil?
I've majorly read in English and Hindi.
Mhm.
But I'm more like I tend to read more of English because after these books also I started reading other books like Conan the Barbarian and all. So those were all in English and they were a little different genre, like a darker genre, and usually in English probably. So that's why
Okay.
English has been the major mode to write and to also read in.
Two readers. Okay.
Yes.
So do you find yourself rereading the books?
Yes, like this one I
Mhm.
got, like I have read this as a kid, and I once I bought it, I read it again. So it's always fun to read. Like I've read Heidi so many times in my life. The same
Okay.
way, there's this book by Rohinton Mystery called A Fine Balance.
Okay.
That is an amazing book, like
Mhm.
which I've read like almost 5 times again.
Oh,
So
okay.
I tend to like in fiction, especially, have that quality that if you read it again, you can
Mhm.
again visit that world, which is
Yes.
beautiful. So
And you are
basically, you
saying something?
enter that world which is there,
Mhm.
and for that moment, you're with that characters, which is fantastic. I mean, which is great.
Absolutely. That is why I think you love fiction.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, great. This was a great sharing, Nikhil. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And
so
I
much.
look forward to meeting you again with a new book.
Yes. Very soon. Fingers
Okay.
crossed.
Bye bye. Thank you. Have
Okay.
a good day.
Bye. You too. You too.